Hello and welcome to Shootin the Breeze, and a special welcome if you're watching on a new device or streaming platform you hooked up over the holidays. I'm WECT First Alert Chief Meteorologist Gannon Medwick, and this 13th episode of Shootin the Breeze is dropping fresh for the new year of 2024. Let's kick it off with a trivia question as per usual, and this one is appropriately winter themed. It is simply, how big was Wilmington's largest January snowstorm on record? Did the storm produce A, 5 inches, B, 9 inches, C, 13 inches, or D, 17 inches of snow for the port city? Seems like almost everyone either remembers or has heard of Wilmington's record December snowfall of 15 inches. That was the one from just before Christmas in 1989. But what say you about January's record snow? Stick around and I'll have the correct answer at the conclusion of Shootin the Breeze. Winter can be a season of harsh and drab weather, but it certainly can offer some strikingly beautiful skies and landscapes too. For the Cape Fear region, winter is of course the year's chilliest season, and on average, it's also the time when the atmospheric column, the full depth of the sky, if you will, tends to be at its driest. And in this Photographer's Corner segment, we'll celebrate how this crisp air can make for some razor-sharp photos. For one, how about this sunset from Topsail Island from Bobby Marshburn? Simply stunning. Or this one, also from Topsail, from Barbara Rayner. Just awesome. And of course, sunrises can crush in the crisp winter air too. Here's an example of that from Dave Bozeman at Wrightsville Beach. A postcard for sure. Here are some angles to think about if you want to make the sun the star of your next winter photo session. First, the overall sun angle in winter is about 45 degrees shallower than in summer, so you might look for longer shadows to add richness and personality to your landscape photography. Also, something cool about many of the Brunswick Islands, like parts of Oak Island and Holden Beach, for example, is these spots get both sunrises and sunsets over water in wintertime because the sun's daily path is more focused toward the southern horizon in the cold season. And speaking of the sunrise angle, the first and second week of February is a special time for many of the east-facing beaches of the Cape Fear region. That is, the sun rises directly under piers like Johnny Mercer's Pier in Wrightsville Beach, as well as Carolina Beach and Curry Beach piers. Patty Rose was onto this alignment in this gorgeous shot from Curry Beach. How can you not love it? Well, we certainly love your sky and weather photos, and if you've got one you're inspired to share, your WECT weather app is one of the easiest ways to deliver it to the WECT.com See It, Snap It, Send It portal. Maybe we'll see one of your photos there soon. In this storm anniversary segment, a look back to a storm from 1 year ago from the debut of this 13th episode of Shootin the Breeze. So this would be from January of 2023. Now, this storm never got a name or even a gaudy label at the time. Thankfully, it never injured anyone and it didn't harm property. But it will go down in history as kicking off the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season in January. This is a satellite image of a subtropical storm that swirled and churned off the New England coast on and around January 16th of 2023. Its story is remarkable in that at the time, the National Hurricane Center didn't give it an official subtropical storm designation. It wasn't until July that scientists with the NHC reanalyzed the storm data to determine that it indeed was subtropical in nature, and it should have gotten the first name of the 2023 Atlantic list, Arlene. A subtropical storm is basically a hybrid system. It gets its energy from both cold core and jet stream processes, and also warm core tropical processes, first and foremost warm water. And this unnamed subtropical storm of early 2023 did sit atop the northern reaches of the warm Gulf Stream current. So even in the middle of winter, there was some of that energy. On a future episode of Shootin' the Breeze, I intend to go deeper into the differences between non-tropical, tropical, and subtropical systems, because behind the somewhat confusing nomenclature, there is a lot of fascinating physics. But there's still a few interesting points to be made about the unnamed subtropical storm of January 2023 here. Like, 2023 didn't need a fancy, weird auxiliary winter system to go into the books for a tropically active year. 19 storms, including 7 hurricanes, did get names between June and November of 2023. Tropical storm Ophelia, for one. It was North Carolina's only landfaller. It hit Emerald Isle on September 23rd and delivered a dose of cool nor'easter-like conditions to the Cape Fear region. This marked the second time a storm named Ophelia made a North Carolina landfall, the other time being in 2005. But if that January subtropical storm had gotten a name like it should have, Ophelia would have been Philippe. Idalia, the ice storm, which was the Cape Fear region's most impactful tropical system of 2023, also presents an interesting note. Idalia spawned 4 tornadoes here in the Cape Fear region. It delivered over 8 inches of rain and flooding to Whiteville at the end of August. And Idalia joins ice storms Isabel, Irene, Isaias as some historically very bad actors for the North Carolina coast. Because that January subtropical storm stayed nameless, Idalia was allowed to be an ice storm instead of Jose. Kind of fateful how all that lined up. But names aside, that subtropical storm of January 2023 does provide a teachable moment that, yes, in extreme cases, subtropical and tropical systems can and do spin up in the middle of winter. So, what was the last time the Atlantic produced a bona fide hurricane in January? That was Hurricane Alex in January of 2016. Looks like a beast on this satellite image, doesn't it? Thankfully, Alex never hit land back in 2016. It stayed over open water in the eastern Atlantic. Now's the time to revisit the trivia. What do you think? Well, Wilmington's record December snowstorm, the legendary Christmas-time storm of 1989, remains very alive in the collective consciousness of the Cape Fear region. The port city's record January snowstorm is not at all in living memory. That storm for the books came from all the way back in January of 1912. And kudos if you selected B. Between the 13th and the 14th of January 1912, that snowstorm delivered Wilmington 9 inches of snow. That's it for this 13th episode of Shootin' the Breeze. Always thrilled to have you along, and always love for you to connect with me on these platforms. If you have a question about a topic you saw here on Shootin' the Breeze, if you have a suggestion for a Cape Fear or Carolina weather item you'd like to see covered in the future, or if you just want to say hello and what's the good word. And as always, WECT.com/anywhere is a great place to find more unique WECT OTT content. Hope I'll see you for the next episode of Shootin' the Breeze, and take care.